Anna, the Haunted Animal Crossing Cartridge. Day 1. About 3 weeks ago, I decided to clean out my apartment because it was getting a bit too messy, and to my surprise, I found my old DS. I was so happy to have finally found it and decided to turn it on and see if it still worked, and it did. So naturally, I tried to look for more games. I only found New Super Mario Bros. And Mario Kart DS. I remembered how I used to love Animal Crossing Wild World for the DS when I was younger, so I decided to go to a local game store to find myself a copy. Obviously, they wouldn't have any new copies, so I looked for a pre-owned one, but unfortunately, they had none. They only had Animal Crossing on the Wii, but I heard that the version of Animal Crossing was a bit crappy, so I still held out my hopes for finding a copy of the DS version. On my way home, I noticed that the local Blockbuster was closing down, so I thought I would check in there to see if they had a copy. And if they did, it would certainly be cheaper as they were closing down. As I approached the store, I realized that it was closed, so I started to head back to my car. Just as I was about to open my car door, I heard a bang coming from the store's window. I looked around the store, and the store manager was standing there in the window, waving his hand at me, asking me to come back. As I walked back, he opened the store up, especially for me. I asked him if he had any copies of it, and he said yes. We only have one though, and it's in pretty bad condition. And I said I would take it. As I went into the storeroom at the back to get the game for me, I realized a few strange things in the store. The walls were painted white, but they had mysterious yellow stains all over it. And parts of the carpets were ripped, and their store was in awful condition. The manager returned in with my copy and said, "I can't find the box, but is the game on its own okay for you?" I said that would be fine, and I took it, paying only 99 cents for it. I sat in my car and noticed the game cartridge had no sticker on the front and an only taped piece of yellow paper over the front that bluntly says Animal Crossing Wild World. I initially ignored it and drove home. When I got home, I immediately put the cartridge in my DS and started playing. But when the menu started, I noticed that the music that usually plays in the menu was getting slower and slower and slower, eventually stopping. I ignored it, assuming it was a glitch, and started playing. I made a new resident, thinking there was no save file, and the cartridge started playing. The game ran very well, and I had no problems on it with Day 1. Day 2. As I started the game, I desperately wanting to know what Tom Nook had in his store today, and the character selection screen. In the bathroom, the player was sleeping in the first bed, while another player was sleeping in the second bed. And I hadn't made a new character. This character was a girl, and I started to play the game as her. Then the game froze as I left the house. Assuming it was my DS, I restarted the game and started to play as her again. Everything seemed normal except the sea was a deadly red color, almost resembling blood, and there was no sign of any residents or houses for that matter, and the only other people in the game were Tom Nook and Booker from the town game. Tom Nook's eyes were red, and his eyeballs had turned black. This really creeped me out. Also, in his store, Nook's cranny, there were yellow stains on the wall. Along this, the floorboards ripped up, strangely similar to the appearance of the Blockbuster store. I quit the game and started it back up again so I could delete the mysterious character and carry on with my own character. The menu music was still getting slower as it was in Day 1, but this time it had a creepy undertone to it, kind of like laughing. But I ignored that and carried on, and tried to delete the mysterious girl character. A text box appeared and said, "Are you sure you want to delete _dash?" It was as if the girl didn't have a name, but anyway, I clicked yes, and it said, "Are you sure? once you delete underscore dash, you can never get underscore dash back. And once again, I clicked yes. The game then reset. This was strange, as it had done this before when I wanted to do something with this character. I went back onto the game and repeated the same process from this time. A text box came up and said, that wouldn't be wise. Why is the game stopping me from deleting that character and even playing as that character? I was too creeped out to play, so I put the DS down and instead played Mario Kart. Day 3. I hesitated to play this game at first, but then curiosity got the best of me, and I picked up my DS and booted up Animal Crossing. But this time, there was no menu music at all. It was creepily silent. When I pressed play, I heard an evil laugh, but very high-pitched and very loud. It was as if there was some kind of jump scare. Anyway, I arrived at the character's lesson screen and tried to delete the mystery girl. But once again, it gave me an error message, but this time it read, stop. This freaked me out, but I thought I may as well start playing with my character because nothing had gone wrong there, and sure enough, my character was fully playable. Blue Sea, all characters' houses were they should be, and yet I couldn't stop thinking about that mystery character. Who was it? Can it ever be deleted? I started to do some research, but I found nothing. Once again, I booted the game up to attempt to delete her, but this time she wasn't breathing. My character was beside her, sleeping, breathing as normal. But she was there, lifeless, motionless, not breathing at all. I thought this would be a good time to try to delete her. For some reason it worked. The mystery girl had been deleted. My mind was finally at ease, and I carried on playing as normal. But I noticed I gained an extra 3,000 bells. I thought nothing of it and carried on as normal. Day 4. As I booted up the game, the menu was different, creepier. It showed one of my residents. It was a white tiger, but I can't recall the name. He was getting closer to the screen with a big grin and huge eyes. The music was running backwards when I started the game. That same laugh was heard, low pitch and was longer, and seemed like it had been slowed down. The girl was back, but seeing as I deleted her before, I thought I could delete her again, so I tried. I was greeted with stop again. But me, being the persistent bastard I am, I tried again. It said, "Are you sure you want to delete Anna?" So that was her name. I finally found her name, Anna. I clicked yes, and it said, "Are you sure? Once you delete Anna, you can never get Anna back." Which was an obvious lie, seeing that she kept coming back, but anyway, I went with it, and she was deleted. Hopefully good. I booted up my character, and strange things started happening. The sea was blood red. All my residents were there, but there were no houses and no trees. All the flowers had turned black, and the grass turned a darkish purple color. Whenever I tried to speak to Tom Nook or anyone else in my town, they would say something along the lines of, "You think she's gone? She will never go." And, "Why delete her? She hasn't done anything to hurt you." Or, "Why? She was my friend, why?" That was strange in two ways. One, because it was a freaking weird thing. Because it was a freaking weird thing for a game to do. Mention characters that have been deleted, and especially in a kids game, for frick's sake! And two, there were no residents in her game save. So, how did they know about her? I was getting pretty scared at this point, so I put my DS down for the day. Day 5. I really didn't want to carry on with this game, but I did. It's a strange feeling. I wanted to know what happened, but at the same time, I was scared for what might happen. It's a kid's game, for frick's sake. I need to pull myself together. I was having less and less sleep. The thought of a game being haunted was stupid, but it seemed to be the only reasonable answer. I started to do more research. Now I knew about Anna. I came across a similar story of a guy. He had a haunted Nintendo 64 cartridge of The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and there were pretty similar stories, except his game's save file was a boy named Ben who took over his computer. I do have some gameplay footage, but I wouldn't be uploading it in case the same thing happens, because Ben sounds creepy as frick. But anyway, I started the game up, and the menu was just black. With the reversing menu music, a creepy face popped up. It was getting creepier every day. I was starting up the game, no girl save, but my save was still there. Same strange things were there. Red sea, red sky, no houses, no trees, purple grass, black flowers, villagers with evil faces, etc. But in the distance, I could see what looked like Anna. But the figure kept running away from me. She eventually started coming towards me and said, "How can you delete that which is undeletable?" And I was thinking, is undeletable even a word? And a text box appeared saying, "Yes, it is a word." It was like she could hear my thoughts. So I started thinking of questions in my head to see if she would answer one, and appeared. And luckily, she answered two. One question was, "What are you doing in my game?" And she replied, "I used to own this until the accident. You aren't the rightful owner. Return it." And the other question was, "What can I do to get you to leave me alone?" She answered, "To get me to go away, you must return to me. But I will never leave you." Straight away, I ejected the game and went to return it to Blockbuster. The door was closed again, and no store manager to let me in this time. Should I have broken in? Should I break in? Perhaps, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Another sleepless night, just waiting for the time that the Blockbuster store could open. I went there straight away. Unfortunately, nobody was there, and it was closed again. Maybe it wasn't the answer? I turned the game back on, and there was no menu music, just a black screen with the game options. At least there was no music. The honest save was back again, but our player model wasn't sleeping in the bed. It was stood next to my player's bed, watching over him. While he slept, I clicked on her to boot up her save file, and see if she would answer more questions. I thought, "Where do I return you?" She said in a text box, "To my grave." How was I supposed to know where her grave was? I asked her for her last name and replied, "Johnson." I googled Anna Johnson and found a story of a girl whose house was being robbed by armed robbers, and they shot her for not giving over the yes. That must be it. That is why she's haunting my game. I have to return the grave to her grave. I have to return the game to her grave to get her to go away. That's the answer. Day 7. I slept like a freaking baby. I was so happy I found what was going on. I went to the girl's grave to return the game, and I felt a little proud of myself. As soon as I got home, I felt I deserved a little rest and plopped in Mario Kart DS. And to my surprise, Anna was a playable character in Mario Kart. What had I done wrong this time? She was an Animal Crossing character. She didn't belong in Mario Kart. I asked her what she was doing, and she said, "I'm here to thank you for what you have done. I'm here to say sorry for what I have done to you over the past few days. I can now pass on peacefully, knowing that game is where it should be. It was my prized possession, and it meant the world to me. It might mean nothing to you, but now it is where it should be. Thank you. And with that, I closed my DS and packed it away. I vowed I would never touch an Animal Crossing game again. I will never leave you.